And it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. Week 3, and it still feels like week 1. Welcome everybody here to round 3. I do have the stream title right. Round 3 here in Australia. My personal, well, other than Coda, of course, my personal favorite track. One of the first tracks I ever drove in the Formula 1 games, where I started learning how to actually drive in Formula 1. I never got good, which is why I commentate, but it's a track where I learned a lot. It's a track where I felt out my passion for Formula 1, and it's really what kind of got me into Formula 1. One of the first races I watched was an Australia race. Syntax, what's your experience with Australia here?
It depends that we're talking about the racing or watching, because about the watching, it's pretty cool track, but about the racing, nothing good, because last time when I was racing in Australia, I had a chance to win the race, but Rolowski took me out, and I finished like P8 or something. So yeah, it isn't like very good memories, but I hope today race will be a little bit different.
I do remember that. That was a fun race for sure. How are you doing today, Syntax? Are you excited for the race? Kind of give me your feel on the Australia track. Of course, this is the old layout, so the new layout is a little simplified, and it's what they actually run in real life Formula 1. For us, unfortunately, we've still got a couple of chicanes in. Things are a little bit tighter than they actually are in real life. So what's your opinion? What's your experience with this track? Are you excited for today's race? Just kind of give me your feel on Australia here.
Yeah, my feedback, like, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the race might be a very good for every single driver. But, like, I need to be honest with you all, because in this specific game, like, I mean, F1 2021, this track is so hard, and probably every single driver would told you that there is on few corners like no grip at all. It's so hard to find that grip, and to not invalid the lap, to not to crash. So as was from the Debe's bold predictions, a few DNFs is possible to see today, and I can pretty agree with that, because Australia is very tricky.
Absolutely. It's a tricky track. It's a fun track. It's a track where I think we're going to see a lot of the skill gap come out between the drivers, and a lot of the experience start to show. Experience like Puhash and Sanquinort, who are currently have finished P1 and P2 the last two races in that order. So is it going to be a third week of P1, P2, or do we think somebody else can bring it to the top of the grid here as Puhash comes across with a 122.58? It's going to be really interesting to kind of watch and see where these drivers put themselves. Sanquinor 122.8, So a few tenths back. Ferrari, McLaren, who are you pulling for this weekend?
I'm not pretty sure, but I will say, like we had before, McLaren can be pretty strong, and I hope we'll see Ferrari also in a good shape. And today we have Giulio, and if I'm thinking correctly, he was absent last week, right?
He was absent last week and DNF'd in week 1, so this will be... He's currently P20 in the standings. This could be a good opportunity for him.
Fight for the podium.
And he actually comes across and goes P1 at a 122.50, so showing up his teammate a little bit. So Giulio could see some strong pace from him this week. We'll see Fishu and Fabic, the only ones to not set a lap yet. And Fishu is going to come across the line and go P3, 122.85, just barely faster than Sanquinor there. And it looks like Fabic on an outlap, the last driver to set a time. So all drivers are currently looking really competitive. There are a couple of gaps there, like Toby at a 132, but I don't think that's a representative time for him. I think he had a little bit of a mishap in the third sector, so not a representative time, but so far just a couple of seconds between the field.
Again, I'm so amazed about the pace of the drivers, because it's so close to each other, and it might change as in kaleidoscope, so I'm waiting until the end. I don't want to say any predictions because I'm not sure about them. As we know, our commentator curse is working always, so maybe not today. We wouldn't make any curse, or even we will try, right, Bradley?
We always try to not curse anyone, and unfortunately I feel like we always do. So I want to make predictions. I don't want to make predictions because I feel like eventually I'm going to get myself banned from the league because I'm going to start DNFing people just out of accident. Let's see here. Look at the Red Bull of Fabic starting his lap. Should be a really strong lap here from Fabic, a driver that has shown some really good pace, currently P7 in the standings, finished P5 last week. I think Red Bull have a lot to bring this week too, as we watch him go through here, coming into the chicane of turns 3, 4, 5, and 6. Of course, in real F1, this was narrowed down and straightened out, so it's not as bad as it is in this game, but in the game here, of course, old track configuration, which I love, and you can see him just kind of really flinging it around. Purple first sector for Fabic, so could be a good show from Red Bull this weekend.
It might look like, but we still have to wait. He's now pushing in the sector 2. He's going pretty wide. You can earn a little bit the amount of the time while you will be going a little bit closer to the edge of the inside. Now very good sector 2, and then I will say a very tricky sector 3 because of the last 2 turns. It might be pretty difficult, but we will see. Fabic is going to the last corner and he will go for the main straight. He's going very well, and now just trying to finish the lap, and Fabic will jump on the 7th place.
Purple sector 1 from Fabic, and it looks like he lost a bit of time there through the 3rd sector. Of course, that penultimate corner, the tricky left-hand hairpin, I think we're going to see some interesting action happen there in that hairpin. Maybe a couple of little accidents, some strong driver fights. So that's going to be where I'm going to keep my eyes on throughout this race. Joker's out here on a flying lap in the Williams, watching him come through Sector 3 as well. DRS open going into, I believe that is turn 11. Comes around here, the left-handed hairpin, really good. Takes it nice and wide and cuts it. Final corner, little squirrely coming out of the final corner there, but he's going to come across, and he is gonna put in a 1:23.1, a little bit of time improvement there, but not enough to improve himself up any positions in the grid here. 8.5 minutes to go, Simtex.
As I'm currently watching Kubo, also he will be probably finishing his another hot lap. He's going on the main straight, and we will see that he will improve his time or not. Yes, he is, and he jumped into the 9th place. Also, we didn't mention that we also have Nexiak back in lobby, so we have one more driver. We also know that Nexiak have also very good competitive pace to fight against Puchacz, Julio Sanquinor, and I hope we will see today a very tight battle for the podium on the Australia's GP.
Nexiak coming around the left-handed hairpin as well. It is going to be a tight battle. Nexiak looking a little swirly around the track. Fishu now retiring. It looks like first sector is catching some of these drivers out. Nexiak comes across and puts himself P8 to start. It looks like Puchacz is out on a lap as well. Puchacz right behind him, going across 1:22.3. Puchacz up into provisional pole here with just a few minutes left. His teammate, of course, out. 1:22.8 is going to be his time. So Sector 1 is going to be a little bit of a challenge for the drivers as well as they go around.
As I was counting, it was like almost 8 or 9 turns that are possibly might you get DNF'd. So as I said before, it might be very tricky. And also this track, you really need to focus like by the whole race, and you have to be patient. I will say the patient is the key today. Of course, high risk, high reward. If you want to make a great lap, you really need to push over the limits, and I will say like maximum the limits, because Australia is pretty fast track. As we can see, beautiful time from Velix, 1:22.2, and I think this is the time that the drivers will be going down with the time and will be closing to 1:22 gap.
Nexiak just ran off the track trying to avoid Puchacz in the final sector. Both drivers end up going into the pits. I thought Puchacz was on a hot lap there. I'll tell you who is on a hot lap though. BIS 2000 coming through the second sector around what I believe to be, the turn corners are a little bit weird now where they straightened everything out. So I know he's running up into what's called turn 9 and 10 now. I believe that's actually 11 and 12 though. And he almost wrecks there. Whew. Barely catching out the inside wall. That is going to be a lap over for him.
That was pretty close to get a DNF. And that's what I'm talking about. It's all about the curbs. You really need to avoid them if you want to finish the lap and finish the race, because they might get DNF'd. And I know that I'm repeating myself, but on this specific track, it's if I will need to compare to any other track that is so risky. Maybe it's not like Monaco, because on the Monaco, you are so close to the walls, right? And you really need to avoid them just to not exchange the wing. But here, if you're going with the high speed on the high speed corner, I see that, sorry for changing the topic, but BIS have some connection issues, I guess, and it's a little bit laggy. And I hope everything will be well with him, because on my screen he's actually jumping on the track from left to right.
He's doing that a little bit for me too. So it's not just you.
Yeah, I hope it wouldn't be affecting on the other drivers. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I couldn't focus my things. Okay, so going back, yeah, as in Monaco, you have a very close to the walls, but here the high-speed corners might be very, I would say, deathful, because one wrong move and you can finish in the wall or on the wall, as we also just saw. That was very close with the BIS 2000.
Absolutely. Fabic, his teammate, going out in the wall in the same place where we picked up BIS 2000 almost going out. Drivers are starting to come out of the pits now. Joker running through the middle sector on a flying lap as well. We'll see how this lap builds up for him as he comes around past turn 8 and down around towards turn 9 and 10. I believe I'm cutting out a corner or two here, but I know the new track map, so I'm not remembering the old corners. Joker, purple middle sector, though. I can tell you that much as he comes around. Looking really, really good. You can see the McLaren staying out of his way. Final sector. I love turn 11 there as the drivers come out past the DRS zone because they always come right to the edge of the curb. And then this hairpin, you really have to cut it in to get it back out. It can be a really, really tricky section in the third sector, and it's probably my favorite.
We're still waiting for improving the time of the drivers, but it looks like it might be a little bit difficult, right?
I think it's going to be really difficult for drivers to improve their times. We're going to have to see somebody pull a lap out. Of course, it's going to be Ferraris potentially that are going to bring a lap out. Is Giulio is out on a lap currently, and it looks like he's actually taking a second warm-up lap here as he goes around. I wonder if he lost it in the first sector or exactly what happened there. But you can see his teammate Sanquinor coming up behind him there as well. So could just be a game of teammates trying to stay out of each other's way as Sanquinor goes right by him, and Sanquinor is definitely on a flying lap here.
Who would just jump over the issue, and he's currently on the P7. But as you said, maybe he want to try to help his teammate, or maybe he take with him too much fuel, and he is probably trying to take it out just to minimize this amount of the fuel, maybe just to make the car a little bit with the less weight, and then he will try to push. But currently now we're seeing that Sanquinor improved his time, 1 minute 22.3, so it's still not getting closer to the beautiful time of the FOXXXES, and he's still currently at his provisional pole.
Giulio just spun out of turn 2 there. Of course, we've seen those spins happen in real life. And my guess is, as you've talked about, Syntax, just a little bit too much curb. So Giulio possibly compromising his qualifying here as we're under a minute and a half to go. Just at a minute to go. And of course, this is a minute 30 lap if he needs time to kind of warm up and recharge. So for Giulio, he might have just lost his qualifying trying to go for a last second push lap here. And of course, he's got Pujols right in front of him, the McLaren, who is going to be looking to do a push lap or an in lap as well. So mixed strategies here could be costing the Ferrari drivers where they're currently at. It could be a little bit of an upset for Ferrari here in qualifying. But of course, as I always talk about, qualifying, great one lap pace, but do you have the consistency to get through the race and avoid these walls as we watch drivers continuing to come through? Pink is into the pits here. Senor is on an out lap. We haven't talked about Senor yet today in the Mercedes. So Senor just crossing the line with about 10 seconds to go here. And it looks like that was an Alfa Romeo on the front stretch spun out there. So we'll see Senor's through here. And Toby, if Toby gets across the line, should be the last driver to start a lap.
Also on the currently on the hot lap, no, we don't have Kubo, but Giulio also wouldn't be improving. He just finished, and he will be starting from the P7 currently. Senior Piotras also probably decided to retire. So basically, only on the track we have currently FOXXXES. We will see that he will improve his time or not. I think not, and probably this will stay as it is with a beautiful, beautiful time from the Pujols, 1 minute and 21.7. So he is the only driver that beat the time gap with the 1 minute 22 seconds.
A great time coming from Pujols there, the only driver into the 21s, but look at the grid behind him there, P2 all the way through P10 into the 22s. So I don't think that the 21.7 is going to be. Let me rephrase this. Pujols is showing great pace, but I don't think he's going to be as far out in the lead as we think he's going to be. I think FOXXXES here, who we're watching going around the track one more time, bringing it into the pits, is going to be really competitive, and the run down to turn one is going to be where we really, really see the action start. Of course, only 15 drivers on the grid, but how many of those drivers will make it through turn one?
That's a very good question. Also, I have another question. Do you think that Puchacz will be trying to reach another podium and another win, and it will be probably his third win in a row? So, I think it will be the best start of the season ever of the whole history of the FRL.
I think this season is going to be great for some competition. And I think I've said that every week so far, but this season has been great for competition. If you're Pujols, you're absolutely craving that domination and that third win. But he's got the Ferraris behind him, and we know the Ferraris are fast. And then we have Nekshak and Kubu as well that we're going to have to watch. Velix is showing great pace. It's really a toss up on who's going to win here. It's really, I have predictions, but none of my predictions will stand, I'm sure. So we'll see exactly how this split two race forms and how these drivers end up.
So maybe we will not speak about our predictions, and at the end of the race, we will check that they were correct or not, just in case to not making any commentator curse.
Well, I'll give you admin's bold predictions, and then we'll go from there. So, admin bold predictions: 10 drivers classified. Yeah, I think I'm having a couple headset glitches here, but I think it's all sorted now. So I'll tell you admin's bold predictions, and then we'll go from there. So he's saying only 10 drivers finish the race, 4 safety cars. Pink will be on the podium, and Williams will get double points. Williams says they're going to be P1, P2, so we'll we'll see what happens there. AWS pit stop strategy: a one stop or a two stop, depending on how you're feeling. Syntax, you're the driver here. What pit strategy would you take? One stop or two stop? So you're going to rely on a safety car to tire strategy, which in FRL is always a good decision here. Looking at tire picks here, Toby and Fabic, the only drivers to go on mediums. Everybody else is on softs. So should be really, really fun here to see how the drivers get off the grid. Toby and Fabic, it looks like are going to bank on going long. I think all the drivers on softs are probably thinking like we are, early race safety car, and it's just a matter of who is the driver to slip up. So you're going to hope that you're not the one to mess up and cause the safety car, and hope that you're around to take advantage of it. Drivers are starting to form up on the grid now. Syntax, any final thoughts or anything super important you want to tell me before we get going here? Syntax cars are on the grid, lights are going. Take us into the start of the race. Oh, that was a tough one there. I don't know what happened between Biss and Fabek. I can guarantee you they're not very happy with each other, though, as we watch currently for the 5th time AWS strategy, guys. I don't know if you know it or not, but you need to know it. As we watch here, look at Velix and Nextshaq battling there. Oh, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there. Velix going defensive and protecting himself, backing out of that battle. And, of course, now you have Julio in the mix who's trying to get the pass done as well. Look at the turn from Nextshaq. A little bit loose as he comes through down on the main straight. Oh, and look at Velix almost losing it there. Puhash across the line, survives lap 1. All of the drivers survive lap 1. If only just. Continuing to watch this battle here. Julio and Velix. Velix trying to take a really aggressive dive down the inside here and try to get the pass done. And now he's got Pink to worry about right behind him. Pink is going to have the drive down into the turn here and wheel-to-wheel contact. We don't see anyone spinning like we saw. I believe it was Joker that spun. And as they go through, Velix losing a position there, trying to fight his way up the grid. Lap 1 over. Now we're halfway through lap 2, and I think all the drivers are alive. DRS trains are, of course, the best and worst things you can be in as a driver. If you're at the front, it makes it a little more challenging to try to protect yourself and go through. And there is a retirement from Fabek. It looks like he lost it there in turn 5, and that is going to be a VSC deployed here. And unfortunately for the leaders, they were a little bit too far around in order to take advantage of that VSC. But Joker diving into the pits here, and we'll see what tires the Williams driver decides to go on. Toby picking up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Interesting to me that Joker is deciding to pit here just lap 2 and go on to, it looks like a set of mediums. Is it because he needed a wing change? I can hear you. Let's look here. That is an interesting problem to have. Try talking now, Syntax.
Okay, I'm talking right now.
Okay, there we go. All right, we should be back underway.
Back to racing. Yeah, we're back to racing. So, like in the radio, the race has been restarted. Puhac have already a big amount of the time, over 1 second. Nextshaq is losing 3.2 seconds to the Sankunyar, but just right behind him, on his back, Nextshaq with the Julio, I have no idea how to read that properly, but Julio is now attacking Nextshaq. Velix also, but Pins just spun. Oh, this is so tough race right now. Julio fighting Nextshaq wheel to wheel, going outside. Might have a little bit better exit, but still Nextshaq is holding his P3 currently, so the fight is not ending right now.
I think all of the drivers' fights are far from over here as we watch Julio only a tenth of a second, half of a tenth, going for an aggressive pass there, and unfortunately does not pay off for him as he's going to slam into the barrier there. He's very lucky that he's still underway. Oh, Julio trying to push as hard as he can, unfortunately not paying off any for him there. So Nextshaq holding on to P3, but not for long as he's going to spin there into that aggressive turn 9-10 chicane. We're seeing drivers get caught out here as they continue to go. We'll see how far back Nextshak ends up dropping here. Velik's now up into P3 though, but Kubu a half second back. Senor in the background almost wrecking, and I believe Julio also almost spinning. Julio's going to have to pit for a wing here at the moment, and safety car has been deployed.
So we have another Red Bull crashed, and probably in exactly the same place, as I guess. And Nextshak just earned 5-second penalty by the collision with the pins. So yeah, the fourth lap was a little bit carnage. We already have 3 different drivers. Senor Piotras, Kubo, and Julio just decided to went to the pit, and FOXXXES just earned a lot of this situation. Let me check how many places he just earned. 11 places just earned. If I'm thinking correctly, FOXXXES was last on the grid, right?
I believe it was either. I believe, yes. He was last on the grid. He's up 11 places right now. So really, really good performance there from FOXXXES to find himself up in P4. Of course, he hasn't pit yet, but we're only on lap 5. So those soft tires should be going for a little while, and he shouldn't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing drivers go ahead and get caught out by curbs and by some aggressive turning, and the drivers, it seems like, are just demanding more out of their tires than is there as we go through.
It's already a 5th lap, and we don't have already one team because 2 Red Bulls just DNF'd. Also, FOXXXES earned 3 seconds time penalty going over the track limits. It's sad because it's on the safety car while it's deployed, so basically he should like try to avoid it, but maybe he just lost the grip. I don't know, but it's earned 3 seconds, so it of course will be counting at the end of the race. But I'm very interested about the situation that we have currently on the track, because Puchacz is currently leading. Just right behind him we have Sanguinor, Velix, Nextshak, Kubu, Joker, Senor Piotras, Toby, Julio, and FOXXXES in the pit lane, Bemolino Gaucho, Pins, and Fishu. So if you would have to say right now, Bradley, how the race will go on, and any possible situation on the track, that do you believe that we will have also a few more safety cars? Because it's already 6th lap, and we had I don't remember that we have VSC or safety car.
We had a VSC, and now we've got the safety car, and there's going to be at least one more safety car, I'm sure. Just watching the way these drivers are pushing, nobody's really trying to hold back because it is only 29 laps of action, and I think we're going to see at least one more safety car. It's just a matter of, does it come from a driver error, a contact, what exactly is going to cause that safety car?
About avoiding any dangerous situation, you said that sometimes it will be better when drivers will step back for a moment, just like let it through. If any driver is fighting with any other driver, for example, when we had situation with Julio and I believe that was Velix, or Nextshak, I'm sorry, he doesn't have to push on this tight corner. He lose the grip on the curb, and he had to pit and exchange his tire. Right now Toby was so close to hit the Senor Piotras and earn, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, 5-second penalty for the collision with the Senor Piotras. He barely touched him, but it is counting.
It's just, with some of these drivers, it's all about those unforced errors that they're having. Like, there was nothing that was causing Toby to need to hit Senor there, but for some of these drivers, it's just all about polishing and remembering. This is a 29 lap race. The key is to get through it cleanly and get through it well. And look at Pujols there being a little reserved on the throttle there. And unfortunately for him, that is going to build up a big traffic jam behind him there. Look at Nekshak trying to take advantage here on Velix, and Sanquinor, I thought, had a good run there. And as we go through, Nekshak in a little bit of mess there along with Kubu and Velix. Velix dropping 2 positions right out of the first 2 corners, and we've already got a yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like Bimolino dropping back, and oh, well, that was a big runoff there from Toby. Toby just not braking and slamming into the back of Senor there. So Toby now no front end on his car. I don't know what happened, if everybody was just braking a little bit earlier because of the traffic jam and Toby just didn't see it.
Yeah, it looks like, but anyway, it's racing, so situations like that happen, and of course he will need to go to another pit for changing the front wing, and right now it looks even worse than in Monaco, because a lot of drivers was already pitted to change the front wing. But anyway, let's go back to the racing. Kubu is trying right now to attack Nekshak, going inside, but he stepped back. He know that it will be difficult to placing him in such a, I would say, uncomfortable situation, and he stepped back and he will try to fight with the Nekshak on the main straight. Also, Sanquinor is trying to catch so much Pujols one more time in another race, because we have seen that situation before, for example in the Jeddah, for example in the Bahrain. So the situation has to repeat once more time, once again, and probably it's not the last time that we're seeing the battle between those 2 drivers.
McLaren and Ferrari, I think, are going to be the story of the season here. Anytime we see a McLaren and a Ferrari beside each other, it's always competitive. You see Sanquinor, who is only 0.6 of a second back from Pujols there, and I'm keeping my eyes back on Kubu and Velix, who are trying to chase down Nekshak here. Only a few tenths separating those drivers, and there is a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting from Julio. So drivers continuing to take time penalties here, and look at Velix with a great run currently on Kubu. Seems to have a little bit extra speed as they're going into the turn 9-10 chicane, as I keep calling it, even though I know it's not turn 9. And look at that, a little bit of a run down the inside as he comes around. And does he have the pass done here? Velix does not have the pass done, but he would love to have that pass done going into there. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car, so for these drivers it's a matter of just keeping touch with the car in front. Kubu trying to stick a wheel on the inside of Nekshak here, just not close enough. And Syntex, I think the battles are heating up. I said the drivers need to relax a little bit, and I don't think they listened.
Yeah, exactly. They want to fight so badly, and I saw that situation. Kubu just went too wide and he spun on the curb, and we have another safety car. I guess that it wouldn't be amount of the safety cars like 4. I would say it will be even more, because just right now with this scheme, it looks like after every 3 laps we have a safety car.
Eventually we're not going to have enough drivers to have to worry about safety cars, and I think at this rate that might be where we're going. Looking here, all of the drivers were already past the start finish line except for Toby, which Toby, it seems, is just not having a good race, unfortunately, in that Alfa Romeo. This is going to be a race that Toby wants to forget.
Someone's prediction that was that only 10 drivers will finish this race, right?
Yes.
So still 2 drivers to go, I would say. Of course, it's very unfortunate, but I hope the rest of the drivers that we have currently on the track will finish this race. It doesn't matter in any conditions, but please finish the race without any safety cars. I'm just asking to do that, please.
I always talk about every week, and I will continue to talk about it through the rest of the season, and then I will never bring it up again. The difference between qualifying and the race is the consistency. In qualifying, it's all about putting that 1 lap pace down. In the race, you just have to be consistent. You just have to continue it through, and we can see all of the front of the grid starting to pit now. Velix staying out, though, on 8-lap old softs, so Velix is going to take control. And Toby picking up multiple penalties here as we go through, again, a race that Toby's going to want to forget by the end of it here, what are the drivers doing in terms of tires? I see medium tires on Pujols and Sanquinor here. Next Shack going onto a set of mediums. Joker double stacking the Williams garage. That is a decision that I don't think was planned. And Next Shack is going to go onto a fresh set of mediums as well. But Next Shack, or Joker, with a very, very long pit stop here. So unfortunately for Joker, that is going to drop him back to the back of the grid here.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, did Williams plan that? There's no way Williams planned that, right?
Yeah, I hope so, because it will be a very good decision from engineers in Williams. But anyway, about the pink that you were speaking, that he will be standing on the podium. Right now, this scenario has possibility to adapt and could finish like that. Of course, it's only 19 laps to go. Maybe not only, but it's still a huge amount of the time until the end of the race. But if that will happen, someone's first prediction might happen. So I will be very, very glad. Also, one more, like I would say, fun information. One of the drivers have not wear the helmet on. And did you spot that driver?
I did spot that driver. I believe it is the Williams here of Next Shack, who
exactly
I guess left his helmet in the paddock.
This is what we called driving in the very dangerous situations, and I think he should try to wear it, because it might save his life. And as we're saying currently on the situation from the beginning of the race, it might be helpful.
I guess all we have to hope for Next Shack is that he keeps his car on the track, because I think it'll be a bad day for him and a little bit of a headache if he finds a wall.
Do you think decision from the Volix just to stay on the track with the soft compound 10-year-old might be a good decision or not? Because it's coming to time that he would really need to go to the pit lane and exchange these tires, while he just have opportunity to get a free pit. Right now, I would say it wouldn't be a good idea.
I really don't know why he stayed on track. That is one of the things that I'm wondering, is why AlphaTauri didn't bring him in and why he didn't go into the pits and change tires. You're on 10-lap-old softs, and the softs, as AWS says, are only good for about 10 laps or so. He's really got to be banking on another safety car or something in order to take advantage, because he is the only AlphaTauri in this race, I believe. So, I mean, he had the pit lane all to himself. He could have pitted whenever he wanted, and that would have put him well up in a good position to look for the end of the race. I really don't know why he decided that, but I'm not a race engineer either. I am just the commentator, so that is beyond my pay grade. But if anyone has any info why Velix did not pit, let me know. Syntax, I want to mention something here, because it looks like our chat is getting a little bit into the race here. Graxent says, if Pujols wins, I'll give out 10 subs.
Okay, we're counting on Graxent. If that will happen, we believe that you will do what you said. But right now, maybe we'll try to ask the community, all the viewers that have currently watching, what are your predictions? Like, give us your top 3 that will stand on the podium. How many safety cars we will also have more in this race, and maybe some DNF, and then if that, who will DNF?
I really am curious what everyone says. Remember last season when it was Spaghetti Mafia? I feel like FRL was ran by Spaghetti Mafia, so I'm wondering who is going to be on the podium right now. Looks like JJ says Toby, Ofsky, and Pujols. That would be one big comeback from Toby, which, of course, in FRL, we've seen crazier things happen. So
Yeah.
I put nothing past the league as we go through here. We're coming up on lap 12. Safety car should be in this lap. We should get that call soon. And it really is going to be a good guess of where this comes around. And I feel like we're just counting down to the next safety car instead of the end of the race now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Felix just decided, okay, so if we have a safety car in every, like after every 3 laps, so basically maybe he will somehow manage to stay on the track, on the grid with those soft compounds, and then in another safety car he will decide to go to the pit lane, maybe for exchange the tires. But right now I would say he slowing down so much, like there's still half of the track, so you have a time, Felix, maybe just to hit your tires. Maybe not like me week ago on the Jeddah, but it will be a good idea to do that. But right now we're going back to the race, and of course after the restart we will see what will be happening.
I think almost going into the back of Velix, trying to slow down there. So we're back underway here. Lap 13 starting of 29. You can see Pink doing a little bit of swerving down the straight here. Velix, 12-lap-old softs, is going to try to run away here and hold on to things. Look at the back of the grid, though. Bimolino trying to have a run here on off-ski. Not close enough in order to make it stick, but for a little bit, he looked really, really close. And look at Julio back in P10 and Nekshak back in P9, trying to get the double run here on Offski and Bimolino, and it looks like Nekshak is going to be able to make that stick there. Up into P8, Bimolino in P9, and now Julio in P10 trying to chase him down as well. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car, so they're going to have to continue to just run through 3 DRS zones here on the track. So it's going to be just a matter of pure pace as they try to get through, and a little bit of a error there from Sanquinor coming around in Sector 2, and that is going to drop him back just a little bit there into P11, and now you've got Julio trying to chase down Bimolino coming around into the turn 9-10 chicane, and it looks like Julio is going to hold on there in P8.
I'm so glad that this restart was so peaceful, but right now we have overtake from the Nekshak on Ovsky going very wide, but he somehow managed to overtake Ovsky, and he jumped on the 6th place. In front of him, 2 very good looking right now, both of McLaren drivers, Puchacz and Fischu, and we know that Puchacz have an unbelievable pace just right now on the medium compounds, and he's pushing just right behind his teammate. I do believe that Puchacz will get information from the engineers that team orders might have a place, and just to overtake Fischu, maybe just to fight for the podium, just for the community to give Grax an opportunity to give 10 subs, of course. But anyway, Senior Piotras is trying so badly catch Pinch, and Pinch is sitting on the back of Velix, so the fight is very, very hard right now, and I believe that it wouldn't go so well, and some things might happening in a few moments.
I think it's really interesting that the top 4 are managing to hold on to their positions here, even though everyone from P5 back is on fresher tires. I thought there would be a little bit closer of a fight by now as we go through. Puchacz picking up a 3-second time penalty. That is going to add to his woes as he tries to chase down the leaders here. We're about halfway through this race now as they come around here into the penultimate corner, into the hairpin. You can see Pink just a little bit later on the brakes there, Senor going a little bit wide, and now we have a yellow flag. It looks like a big coming together there between Fischu and Senor and a couple other drivers. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I see Senor, who has just had to spin around here, and he is going to be back underway. No safety car needed there, but I'm sure a conversation for the stewards for later.
As we always saying, this is not our job, so we don't have to worry about that. And now, still, Pins is trying to attack Velix. He's so close, but right behind him is Puchacz that will be also trying to catch both of these drivers and get back his P1. We're seeing that Pins is currently much faster than Velix because he have old soft compound, and it might be very difficult for Velix just to hold on them. Maybe he's waiting for a miracle just to get another safety car, and it was so close to do that just between the fight between the Fishu and Senior Piotras. But anyway, we are seeing that the situation on the track isn't any calmer than it was before. Pins now have opportunity to overtake, going inside with the DRS on the DRS zone, and now Pins is currently leading in this race. But Puchacz, beautiful overtake. Also, Nexiak joined the fight, and Velix just lost 2 positions in 1 corner. Nexiak somehow spun. I don't know how. What is going on in this race?
I think Nexiak ran into the back of Velix there, as Velix is now into the pits. So I believe there was some contact there between those 2 drivers, costing Velix big time there. He's now into the pits. We'll see what his plan is there on those 14-lap-old softs. And then Nexiak, of course, having to put on a new front wing, but the battle in the front here between Pink and Puchacz. Pink, of course, on 11-lap-old mediums. His medium tires have to be screaming by now. He needs to do another pit stop before the end of the race, unless he can take those medium tires farther than they realistically should be allowed to go. And then Puchacz just needs to keep up at this point and try to build the gap on Giulio and Sanquinor, who are P3 and P4, so Ferrari not giving up on this race either. So in the matter of a corner, things have mixed up completely in the front of the grid there.
The things might get more interesting because we're going so close to the DRS zone in the Sector 2. Puchacz just went a little bit safer than probably he was normally driving, and he's going so close to the pins. He won't be attacking right now. He will stay behind him and try to wait for a better moment to attack, but still holding on his back, while Puchacz have 2 Ferraris on his back trying to get the correct pace and try to attack. Pins have a better exit from the last corner, and now that Puchacz will try to attack on the first turn, or not really, or he will decide to step back. Yeah, just to make it a more safer, just to not spawn, just do not DNF.
One of the things I love about watching Puchacz is we see him a little bit of contact there between him and Pink. I don't think Pink knew he was there, so Puchacz having to run way off into the grass, and that is going to free Giulio up to start to catch up. Of course, Giulio a little bit faster than Puchacz, it seems, in terms of ultimate race pace. But one of the things I love about Puchacz is he knows when to back out and he knows when to take the risk. We saw there, first corner, he could have taken the risk of diving it in, but he could have taken himself out along with Pink, and he decided not to and backed out of it. Of course, we still saw the little bit of contact there between Pink and Puchacz, but overall, a very, very knowledgeable driver. And now we're going to see how this knowledge goes into play, because you've got Giulio there in P3, who is chasing him down through turns 9 and 10 here. DRS is going to be open. A little bit of a poor run there for Giulio, trying to save it off of the curb. So now we're going to see the battle heat up here as Ferrari is back in the mix for the top of the podium paying places.
I'm not sure, but it looks like Puchacz is struggling a little bit on this track. Maybe this is what I was talking about in the qualification session, about holding the grip in the few corners. And for now, the situation on the track has been settled down a little bit. Only the top 3 currently of the drivers have a chance to fight to each other, because they are so close to get the DRS zone and maybe to fight between themselves. But anyway, any other driver just have a bigger time gap and probably won't be able to catch the DRS. But right now, Giulio is closing so much to the Puchacz. We're seeing that, I'm guessing, of course, that Puchacz is struggling a little bit. I'm not sure that is about the medium compound, or is all about the track. Probably, maybe we will get that information later. But anyway, it's still about 4 tenths in maximum about the time gap, and I'm pretty interested about this fight between those 3 drivers.
I'm very interested to watch how this plays out as we hit the DRS zone here. Of course, Puhash has DRS, Julio has DRS as well. So as they go through, and it looks like Puhash is going to try to have a dive up the inside there on Pink. Pink trying to close the door. He's going to push him to the curb, wheel to wheel as they come down, still wheel to wheel as they come around, going into the penultimate corner. And Puhash is going to back out of it there. Pink is going to have the run, but now Puhash having to go wide due to Pink and trying to fight Pink, and that is going to open up a line there for Julio, and Julio is going to come down the main straight DRS. You can see Pink trying to swerve there, and Puhash and Julio trying to keep up, and this is all opening the door for Sanquinor to get back into the fight. So now you're going to have a four-way battle for the podium as the drivers come down, and as we watch coming through here, it looks like Pink is going to go mega defensive here. Puhash up into the lead now as Puhash finally gets by him, and then Pink now has to hold the Ferraris back, and Puhash needs to get a run going here as we watch them come through the end of the first sector, into the middle sector. So Puhash back on the top step, and for Julio and Sanquinor, they really need to get things going. And now we have, it looks like a yellow flag for a spun Aston Martin there out of turns 4 and 5.
Even though that Puhac has overtaken Pink, he still have 6 seconds time of the penalty, and it isn't a very good situation for him. Maybe somehow Puhac will manage to find the 6 seconds time gap between him and Pink, but looking right now, I'm not pretty sure about that.
Yeah, finding the 6 seconds in 10 laps is going to be very challenging, especially with the pace that we're seeing out of the Ferraris behind him. Unfortunately for Puhac, those 6 seconds of penalties could be costing him unless the drivers behind him start to push way harder than they need to. Of course, if this were to finish the way it is, it would be Pink, Sanquinor, and Julio, your top 3. So as long as the drivers can hold on where they're at, they are in for a great finish. And I think P2, 3, and 4 know that, which is why they've kind of settled down here.
You're seeing that Sanquinor is getting closer so much to the Julio, and basically he's sitting on his spoiler. So the fight, of course, the slipstream from the Ferrari is looking for a beautiful teamwork right now. Of course, Julio. This is not the main meaning about that, because he is trying to catch the pins. But anyway, also Sanquinor is earning on this situation because the drivers are slowing down because of the fight. So this is a very good opportunity for Puhac to gain the time, as we were talking about before. And right now he is over 1 second. 5 seconds to go to find those 5 seconds. As you said before, Bradley, it will be extremely difficult because he still have I would say right now 8 laps until the end of the race.
Beautiful pass there from Julio going into the final sector. And just looking here, the big winners, I was about to say FOXXXES, and of course, right as I'm about to say his name, he DNFs out of the second sector. Of course, that 910 chicane taking out another driver here, and we'll see if this brings out a safety car. I don't know exactly where his car is sitting on the track. Looking here, it looks like he's on the inside wall, so no safety car deployed. It looks like no harm, no foul, say the stewards. And as we watch, that opened up a little bit there, as I think Julio was expecting a safety car and slowed down a little bit. Gap 1.2 seconds, so Puhac has found himself out of DRS range, and that's really going to help him start to try to build that 6-second gap. I still don't think it's doable here by the end of the race.
Also, we're seeing how much Ferrari just want to get that double podium today. Right now, Sanquinor will be trying to attack. Oh, Pink didn't left enough space for Sanquinor, and he is off the track right now, going on the grass, and it will definitely slow down a lot Sanquinor. Of course, it is a situation for the stewards, but it sets Sanquinor in a very difficult situation right now, especially that it's almost 4 seconds time gap between him and Pink. So I would say it looks like Pink is able to stand on the podium, but about the penalties, maybe stewards decide to give him some penalty. I'm not sure. I don't want to talk about that was in racing incident or not, because I'm not sure about that. Anyway, the closest battle that we have currently on the track is Fishu trying to catch Senior Piotras, and Senior Piotras is trying to catch Velix. So big battle for the 6th place right now.
Battle for the points paying places, of course, still counts, as it's all to play for here in this 12 race season. We're only on race 3, a quarter of the way through. It's weird to say, of course, only 12 weeks here in the season, but every moment counts, and these drivers know that. As we watch here, the battle is really heating up, and I want to point out, Syntax, Pink is on 17 lap old mediums, and we still have 8 laps to go here in this race. 7 laps to go, I'm sorry. So he will be on 24 lap old tires by the end of the race. Is that doable? Senor was on the same number of laps, and he just pitted in for a set of softs. Is Pink kind of cornering himself to have to stay out here until the end of the race?
I'm not sure, because I think it's doable, but it will be extremely difficult because he still have a few laps in front of him to drive. Behind him is very fast Sanguinior that is getting closer and closer. And of course, I'm wishing the best luck for the Pink, but I'm not sure that he will be able to hold that 3rd place when you have such a fast driver on your back behind. And it's pretty hard to say right now.
There's such a tire delta there, and it really makes me wonder exactly where they're going to come out. At the moment, looking at penalties, 6 seconds for Pujols, and that would put him coming out in P4, and Julio would be P3 here. Pink would be P1, Sanguinior would be P2. So really all these drivers have to do if they want to be up on the top steps of the podium is just be consistent at this point. And I think they're aware of that as they go through. Of course, still watching that battle here between Fishu and Nextshack as well. The battle for P6, Fishu and Velix. That battle is far from over here for P6. It's great racing all the way through, Syntax, and we only have a few more laps left. It really is the battle of Ferrari versus McLaren this season here in Split 2.
Yeah, it looks like. Also about the Ferrari, as I was speaking, Sanguinior just catch right now Pink, so we're seeing how slow are those mediums from the Pink. Just right now, Sanguinior beautiful attack from the inside and get that overtake on the Pink. Just right now, we have currently on the P2 and P3 both of the Ferraris. But the main difference is between the Pujols and Julio, because we're seeing that Julio is getting so fast, so close to Pujols, and I think about that time penalty, it will be so difficult to Pujols just to hold the P1. Maybe if Julio would catch another 3 seconds time of penalty, but I think Julio will get the best from this situation and try to avoid any dangerous situation just to get not over the limits of the track, and then he will easily jump on the P1, because of course on his back he have his teammate. So just right now the situation might be changing, but of course it's still 5 laps to go.
If Julio catches another 3-second time penalty and both him and Pujols have 6 seconds, Julio would actually fall behind his teammate Sanguinior, and Pujols would still hold the top step of the podium, as the gap back to P3 is almost 6.5 seconds now. So there would still be a great gap there. So Pujols not out of contention as we think, even though with the penalties, if Julio gets another 3 seconds, Pujols can secure the top step of the podium as long as he keeps a 6-second gap to Sanguinior.
Right now Pink is getting closer to the Sanguinior, and it looks like the fight for the P3 is not over yet, and I believe that Pink wouldn't decide to go to the pit lane. Of course, it wouldn't be a great idea, but right now he's seeing that Sanguinior haven't got any more battery, and I think Sanguinior earned just 3 seconds time penalty, but also he done a little bit of waving in the end of the main straight, just that because of that Pink couldn't attack Sanguinior on the inside because he just closed the door and he weren't able to do that. But on this situation between the Sanguinior and Pink, I would say is a draw between the dangerous situation after the Pink was trying to push out the Sanguinior and he went on the grass. Right now Sanguinior just made a pretty dangerous move for both of the drivers, and currently on this situation bigger winner is Pink because he don't have any 3-second penalty. But very important information right now, both of the top 1 and top 2 drivers right now have 6 seconds time penalty, so it's right now all about the pace, pure pace and pure experience on the track. I would say it looks like Giulio just want to catch so badly Puchacz, but he wouldn't let him to do that, and I think this is the most important battle on the track right now until the end of the race.
So at the moment, there is a 6.3 second gap between Puchacz and Sanguinior. So it really is everything to play for here. And for Puchacz, he needs to put the pedal to the metal and really open up his throttle and show some pace through these final 3 laps. If he can keep the 6.2 second gap, things have just swung in his favor and he is in contention for P1 now and holding that position on track and on the podium. But of course, 0.3 of a second, the gap here between Puchacz and Giulio, and DRS is going to start coming into play here, Syntax. So 3 laps, and I would imagine we're going to see some back and forth action. This is all but over at the moment, and of course 1.3 seconds between Sanguinior and Pink. That battle is very close as well. We've still got the battle for P6 that hasn't been determined either, so a few very close gaps here on the track, but that gap between P1 and P3 is what we have to watch here through the end.
Exactly, and I guess both of drivers, and Puchacz and Giulio, have earned minimum 1 of the warnings that you are possibly to do just before you will earn a time penalty. But right now, Giulio have a DRS. We're seeing that Puchacz don't have anything with the battery, maybe less than 10%. He's not deciding to attack right now. He's waiting on the another DRS zone. Maybe he will try to do right now. Puchacz is currently holding the inside. No chance to attack for Giulio. Right now he's going wheel to wheel. Very close battle, but right now Puchacz with the beautiful defending, holding his P1 so much, but right now it's getting more and more intense. 2 laps to go.
Amazing defense there from Puchacz, deciding to opt to the inside and then squeeze Giulio a little wide there. Great defense as they come down though. Look at the run that Giulio gets on Puchacz here into the chicane, and Giulio running a little wide there. Probably a track limits warning, I would guess, but as they go through here, Puchacz is now going to be right behind him here. Of course, 2 laps to go, coming up when they hit the line as they go through, and all Puchacz has to do is just keep up and watch and try to force an error as they come through DRS zone here. Puchacz, as I've already said, is a calculated driver. He's not going to make any move that he doesn't think will stick, and as we watch coming here into the penultimate corner and the final corner here in sector 3, Giulio is trying to defend for his life. Evenly matched on tires. There's no difference in these cars except for driver ability and a little bit of luck.
And also we're seeing that because of the battle between the Giulio and Puchacz, Sanguinior is getting closer. So for now that he will be probably able, and no, Giulio just spun on the curb. So Puchacz have right now opportunity to gain a little bit more time in front of both Ferraris. So such a dramatic ending right now, and it looks like the McLaren have opportunity, but still Sanguinior is pushing right now so much, and he wouldn't let it go. So if he will somehow manage to get closer to his teammate just to catch the DRS, maybe he will get the chance to jump before in front of the Puchacz. But right now it's still 2 laps to go, and the emotions right now are so buzzing, and we're not like we cannot be sure about anything right now, Bradley.
4.1 seconds the gap now between Pujols and Sanquinor, and another 2 seconds between Pujols and Julio. So Pujols, for this final lap, just needs to find whatever pace he can dig out, and Sanquinor needs to find whatever pace he can dig out. This is the battle for the win, and it's not even a side-by-side battle here. As the drivers come around the corner, the final corner here, one more lap to go, and all Sanquinor needs to do is just keep it clean, no errors here. And we can see Julio, the gap opening very wide between the drivers here. Pujols just needs a clean, fast qualifying style lap here, but of course 19 laps on those medium tires. Final lap, all to play for here, and Sanquinor is still closing the gap. We'll see Sanquinor and Julio how this battle shapes up.
Bradley, maybe you missed that, but Julio just earned another 3 seconds time penalty, so he currently have 9 seconds. So he is jumping out totally right now of the podium because of the pink. So currently the situation with the podium might be changing a lot, but it depends from the drivers. We're seeing that Sanquinor is getting so much closer to his teammate. Probably he will try to catch him in the DRS zone just to earn as much time as he will be able in Sector 2 and Sector 3. I'm not sure, but definitely in the Sector 2 right now, 7/10 just behind his teammate. But right now Julio is losing over 3 seconds, so it's pretty hard to say that Sanquinor will be able to hold that. We're seeing that Julio is passing by. No, they are fighting to each other. I have no idea what is happening, but it isn't helping at all, and I don't understand why Julio wouldn't help his teammate right now to earn that podium. Right now Pujols is going over the lane, and he is currently right now our winner of the race, but we have to wait until the end of the rest of drivers. Sanquinor, P2, Julio, P3, Pink is coming over, and he jumps on the podium. He is on the 3rd place. Beautiful work from this very, very good driver. Also Elioker coming, but he wouldn't be able to jump over to Julio, and he will finish on the P5.
Pujols pulling it out at the very end, able to hold on to P1 there. Sanquinor in P2, Pink P3, Julio dropping way back, and Graxent paying up on his promise. What a race, Syntex. Nextshaq bringing it across P7, Fishu P8. That was a great battle between them that I can't wait to see highlights on. Senor P9 coming around the final corner. And then you have Bimolino, who is in P10, who is almost a lap down. Toby P11, all a lap down. Bimolino, final corner here, and he will finish up this race. But for Pujols, it is 3 wins in a row. I cannot believe that. Pujols and Sanquinor, P1, P2, 3 wins in a row.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
What just happened? That was like most amazing. I wouldn't say it was a race, it was a beautiful show. It was a beautiful show of every single driver that just put us in the front seat just to sit and not relax. No, not just watch calmly. It was emotions from start, from the beginning until the end of the race, and it was a beautiful, beautiful show from every single driver that we had today.
Split 2 never fails to amaze me, and of course a massive battle between 4 drivers for the lead, and it all came down to penalties at the very end. Pujols, Sanquinor, Pink, and Julio pulling out a great win, or a great position there, P4 at the very end. Amazing run from them. A lot of track limits, a lot of track limits showing up in the end though, and for Pujols, track limits saving the day and saving his P1.
And also a huge disappointment of that time penalties from Julio. He have a beautiful opportunity to stand on the podium. We would have a double Ferrari podium, but not today. Maybe next time, a beautiful fight between 4 drivers, I would say, until the end of the race. But it is what it is. It's racing, and I'm glad I could commentate that specific race.
Split 2 always brings the fun. I love Split 2. Of course, here in about 10 minutes, we have Split 1 coming in. Syntex, what are you taking into Split 1? I ask you every week. What are you taking into split one with you?
Definitely that the one pit stop strategy, soft to mediums, are possible to do. So maybe this is what I will get with myself for my race, and I will try to do that. Of course, I'm not sure. It depends on the situation on the track, but I will try to do that.
Absolutely amazing racing. Syntax, good luck. As always, I'll see you on the track here in split one. I got a strong feeling for you this week, Syntax. Just hang out there, just race, have some fun. I can't wait to see you on the track, and good luck.
I will try. Thank you so much, and have a nice rest of the day. And please be welcome on the split one race just in the beginning in the next 10 minutes.
Be about 10 minutes till we get to the race, as Syntax just said. Hang out, enjoy some music. We'll be right back with you here shortly. and it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. And we are back here with Split 1. Welcome, everybody. Hope you are still having a good day. You've missed nothing crazy here. A little bit of a reset. Grabbed a quick bite to eat. Grabbed something to drink. Try to fix my throat there after an amazing Split 2. Some crazy racing we saw there, of course. Congratulations to FOXXXES and Sanquinor on another 1-2 there. Of course, some discussions that are going to be had later, but another 1-2 coming in for FOXXXES and Sanquinor, which was absolutely crazy to watch. And now Split 1 is going to be here. 19 drivers here in Split 1 ready to give you a show. As we watch Fishu, first driver out on track here in the Williams. Fishu, of course, finishing out in... Fishu is a reserve driver here. He raced in week 1 and finished P12. Didn't race last week. And of course, Fishu racing here in Split 2 typically. So it's going to be really fun to see where Fishu follows himself up at as a reserve driver here in FRL. And we're going to watch him go through on this outlap. Of course, a 1:21 was our pole time in Split 2. I anticipate those times to come down quite a bit here in Split 1. Fishu, first driver to start a lap. And as we watch, a couple of big stories here. Tazo currently leading the Drivers' Championship with back-to-back second places. And then you have Kuba, who is currently in P2 after finishing first place last week and finished P6 in round 1. Then you have Matouche in the AlphaTauri, who's done back-to-back P3s. And then Jack, a big story there. P1 in race 1, but now he's only He finished P9 last week. He's currently sitting P4 in the point standings. All 19 drivers currently out on track, either on flying laps or out laps. So it's going to be really, really fun to watch as these drivers continue to run around and try as hard as they can to put in times. But they're going to have to deal with traffic here. Fishu, of course, setting a purple sector. Maddie, first driver out, and that is going to be Fishu spinning there. Noda retiring from the session as well there. Both of those drivers caught out in the first sector. We'll see if we can jump back with any of the drivers to see exactly what happened to them there. And you can see both of those drivers just spinning in the first sector. And that was the Red Bull, I believe, of Ignis, who hit the wall there trying to avoid him. So that's 2 drivers out. And you could see there we were on board with Fishu, and Fishu spinning into the wall, no front wing. So that is the first driver trying to set a lap out. And JJ now coming around Syntex fastest lap of 1:22.1 to kick us off. So Syntex showing some great pace early, of course, my co-commentator in Split 2. So really excited to see where he goes. And as the first laps are setting in, Syntex, that 1:22.1 looking very scary fast here. And now Barthez, 1:22.2 can't bring it down there. And of course, we're going to see JJ come across a 1:21.5, 0.6 of a second faster there. Where is Jack? His teammate going to bring it around. Jack running extremely wide through the turns 9-10 chicane. And Jack holding on to it here as he goes down. DRS closed a little bit early and on the mediums to start. Very interesting decision from him there. I'm guessing this is just a sightseeing lap. He just wants to see what there is to put in here. Gavron is going very slow Looks like he is doing a second push lap as he comes across, because his first time in is a 149, so very, very slow from him there. You got Tazo coming across the line. Tazo is going to put in a 121.7, so Tazo's showing some great pace early on. Look at Kuba coming through around the final corner. We'll see where Kuba sets himself up at. Kuba is going to come around and put in a 122. Oh, and Matoush is going to be out of qualifying as well. We talked about how, oh, and you can see Matoush right there out of turn 2, and that is an Alpine as well who's out and is spun. I believe that might be Spaghetti Mafia. It is Spaghetti Mafia who is spun. And we talked about it in Split 2 about how these drivers are going to push, but how you need to be able to find that little bit of extra push, but not go over the line here. You've got to be able to really keep it in the lines and keep your race going. And as we look through here, most of these drivers have done a lap here. Jack in the pits, Fishu in the pits, Ignis in the pits. Gavron is now retiring, turns 9 and 10, catching him out as well. John Meister is out on a hot lap here, and John Meister is going to come across with a 121.9, puts himself into P4, looking really, really good there. Debes yet to put a time in, and Spaghetti Mafia currently sitting in P18. So all drivers have done at least one lap and are going to be into the pits here. Ignis, of course, on an out lap though, and it looks like he just went right back into the pits, I believe. But no, Ignis is on his out lap. Ignis still on the out lap. Few drivers on out laps here. John Meister, I believe, is on an in lap here. He is indeed on his in lap. Bartha is now coming out of the pits here. Jack Fishu coming out of the pits, and Ignis is going to be in line to set a lap. He's a little out of sync with the other drivers, but that may not be a bad decision there from him and may give him a chance. Now Ignis going to be out to set a lap, but he is going to have some drivers in front of him there on their out laps that could be going a little slow. 10.5 minutes left to go here in qualifying, so it's going to be really important for Ignis to deal with the lap traffic, especially since he's placed himself out of sync of the other drivers here, and seeing how he deals with that lap traffic and how he deals with the tire in the middle of the straight is going to be very important for this Red Bull driver. And watch him just come around there. Great pace coming out from Ignis as he comes down. He's going to come around and handles the chicane really well there. Out of turn 8, hits the detection line. And now turns 9 and 10, and watch him sling it over the curb there. Keeping things together. Great pace here coming out of Ignis. And we'll see just where that places him as he comes around the right-hander into sector 3. Through and now into the penultimate corner. Final corner coming around, and the start-finish line is fairly deep into the main straight here. So Ignis is going to come around and set his first time. Good enough for P6, a 122.1. And now you have some of the top drivers here like JJ back out on hot laps. JJ coming around through the middle sector. And again, he's going to have lap traffic to deal with in front of him. All of that lap traffic slowing down and staying out of his way though. So JJ coming around, and you can see just the pure control that JJ has over his car. It's very fun to watch JJ drive. Of course, the time trial king of FRL, always putting in time trial laps and showing them off. Great times in, and a 121.1 to pay for it here. So great pace coming out of the Ferrari driver. Now you have Jack down in P15, the other Ferrari, who is trying to put in a strong time as well as he comes here through turns 5, 6, and 7. And Syntex retiring out of the session. It looks like Syntex spinning there in turn 9 and 10 in, I believe that's called the bus stop. And look at Jack just barely staying out of the wall there. Absolutely risking it. Almost in a bad position there. But able to hold on to it and watch him sling through the chicane there. I have no idea how his car keeps that much grip. Now Jack coming around, and he needs to watch out for the traffic in front of him there. And the traffic going all the way into the grass. The Red Bull there staying well out of his way. And watch Jack coming across. Currently setting P15, no lap time in. Jack is going to come across. Only good enough for P5, a 1:21.9. But look how close these lap times are. Even though JJ and Graxent have a bit of a pace advantage there. Same with Tazo. Graxent, Tazo, and JJ aren't that far apart. And then just look at everyone there in the midfield. Midfield is extremely competitive as they go through. Look here at John Meister out on a flying lap. Looks like giving up that lap. Bernard into the pits. Debe coming around, going very slow. Fishu coming through here. And Spaghetti Mafia trying to put in a lap at the moment. And it looks like for Spaghetti, Australia is definitely not his track. Spaghetti coming around the third sector. It looks like he's a little bit back off the pace, potentially. And he comes across P10. Great time coming from him, but could have more time to find here. John Meister putting in a time good enough for P4, 1:21.9. So he's got a little bit to go and find here. And Debe with a 1:22.4, invalidating his lap and going into the pits. Fresh set of tires, and he'll be right back out. Going for it again. Wasserschwein, though, out of sync with the rest of the field here on a flying lap for himself. Good clean track here, so could be a great place for him to find strong time as he comes across here, coming around turns 3, 4 into 5 and 6. Wasserschwein dealing with the lap traffic in Alpine well. No issues coming out of that. Continuing to go down. Wasserschwein purple middle sector. So Wasserschwein showing some great pace here. Not too far off as he's continuing to go down. And what time is Wasserschwein going to bring through the third sector is the big question now. Third sector has been where we've seen some drivers be really slow. Really having to pick what their setup is going to be. And Wasserschwein coming around down the main straight. What time is he going to put in? Wasserschwein is going to come across, and he is going to bring in a 1:21.7, up 2.4 seconds. Puts himself into P4 at the moment. Really, really good time coming out of the driver there. 4 minutes left to go. And you have Ignis now on a flying lap, and the Red Bull coming through first sector. Ignis in the Red Bull, currently sitting down in P15 in the Drivers' Championship. Finished P12 last week in a DNF in race 1. So, and another... And for Ignis, qualifying this week is not going to be one he wants to remember here. So Ignis is going to DNF, currently sitting P9. We'll see if that time is able to stand, just absolutely losing it there in turn 9, turn 10. Unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot of that here in split 1. Split 1 tends to push a little bit harder, and unfortunately for them, it tends to cost them a bit more. As we watch here, Kuba going past where the wreckage of Ignis was. And Kuba is going to bring it around here through the penultimate corner, the left-hand hairpin. And you can see he sets it up a little bit different than other drivers do when he comes around. And it seems to work really well for him, though. Kuba starting a flying lap here. Kuba went on a second push lap, I believe, and he is starting what has to be his flying lap here. A great run out of the final corner, starting his lap off well through turns 1 and 2, running down to turn 3. Good look through there, not braking too late, no problems. Bernard now DNFing out of the session. So here in qualifying, we've had 7 cars DNF out so far, and we only have a few minutes left. And if this is an indication for the race, we might have a couple of safety cars to worry about. There is the 8th car DNFing out of the session. Now it's all a matter of, can drivers improve? And for Kuba, it looks like that is a scruffy lap for him out of the middle sector there in turn 8. And Jack is now retiring out of the session. Jack spinning out of the first chicane, or the first corner, and you can see there Kuba trying to give it his all. Unfortunately for Kuba, a very scruffy lap coming out of him, especially there from the middle sector. So I don't anticipate much improvement coming from the Mercedes driver here as he comes around the hairpin, but we'll continue to see what time he puts in. Unfortunately for him, I don't know if this is going to be enough to improve, and with only a minute left in the session, he's not going to have anything else to really bring Spaghetti Mafia now out of the session as well. Kuba up into P6. He looked a little scruffy, but he was able to find some time there. And now let's jump on board here. Barthez still trying to put in laps. 45 seconds left in this qualifying session, and you can see drivers are out on outlaps that are still in this qualifying session here. We'll see here as Barthez comes around down the middle sector. He's got a couple drivers in front of him here, and we'll see what the drivers in front of him are able to do. Not a lot of drivers on track, so it's all about the pace as they go around here. Barthez coming into the third DRS zone, looking pretty good right now as he goes around. Debe back in the first sector, going very slow, and for Debe, that is his qualifying over, I do believe. Barthez coming into the hairpin, and our driver is going to get around to start their outlap. 10 seconds to go here. Wasserschwein needs to come around, and it looks like that is Wasserschwein starting John Meister a little bit too far back. So for John Meister, that is going to be his session over. Unfortunately, it looks like his teammate getting out in front of him, and the crew's just not getting him out there fast enough. Barthez coming around, puts in a 121.7. So for Barthez, that is going to be P4. JJ, of course, starting a flying lap, invalidating his lap. So for JJ, no more laps to put in for him here. Graxon's going to be trying to bring it through to compete, though, with JJ and really try to get a pole position for this race. Graxon's coming around. Second sector looking really, really good as he goes through. Of course, Graxon, the Red Bull driver, always impressive here in the split. And I said I thought there was an issue with Debe. Debe in P7 at the moment, Kuba in P8. So the Alfa Romeos are going to start side by side, and so are the Mercedes. Watch Graxon coming around here, final sector. JJ's in the pits. JJ is going to have to just sit and watch and wait and hope nobody improves to beat his time. Graxon into the pits, not able to improve. So for Graxon, that is going to be it over. Barthez is coming around here in the third sector. Is Barthez going to have anything to improve? He's not. He's fairly far behind there on the final runs. Wasserschwein, nothing to improve there. John Meister invalidating his lap. Debe is coming around the third sector, and his laps are over. Kuba into the pits now. Buchik into the pits, and Fishu in the pits. So this is going to be your qualifying over here in split 1, and for JJ, it's going to be a very successful qualifying for him. Graxent P2, Tazo holding on to P3, even though he did DNF in the session, but able to set up a strong enough time early that kept him in P3. P4, Barthez, Wasserschwein 5, John Meister 6th, Davis 7th, Kuba 8th, Jack 9th, and Buchik in 10th. Ignis and Syntax. Syntax, of course, DNFing out as well. Spaghetti Mafia, Bernard, Fishu, Gavron, Matouche, Maddie, and Noda. The bottom 3, of course, not able to put times in, all DNFing before they could get laps on the board. And here we are with our qualifying session or our race here on the formation lap. And as you can see, AWS says you're going 1-stop or 2-stop. Of course, we saw the 2-stop was a good alternate strategy in the split 2 race there. And what we saw was drivers weren't able to make the mediums last for 20-something laps there. We saw 23 laps, I believe, on the medium tires. And for some of these drivers, at least I know Syntax said, that is going to be an option that he takes into the race, that he may try to use. And we'll see exactly how that plays out long term as the drivers go through. Of course, JJ not hesitating on his formation laps. He never does, and he never will. As they come through, I think the big story here is the fact that JJ's in P1, but Jack, with that DNF, not able to improve any times, and he's back in P9. So I think for Jack, it really is going to be an interesting case of, is he able to improve or not, and how far up the field can he, and whether he's got enough fight in him to take it through. Of course, 29 laps here in Australia goes fairly quick. So we'll see what the drivers bring in and where things play out. And of course, you can't discount Tazo there in P3. currently our points leader. All he needs to do is just finish in a good spot, and Tazo can continue to hold on to the points lead because Kuba is back in P8, so Kuba needs to fight his way up the field for a little bit of a battle here. Of course, looking at tire strategy, P12 through P18, all on the medium tires, your top 11 opting for the softs. And as we watch the final driver form up on the grid here, that is going to be Noda. And it really is going to be a battle who is going to be able to get off this line the best. Are we going to see any turn one carnage? Is JJ going to be able to hold on to the lead? Will Graxent be able to jump him here? Or is Tazo in P3 going to be able to jump both of them? Only one way to find out here as the drivers form up, and it is going to be 5 red lights here in Australia. 5 red lights, and we are going to be underway here for split one here in the Australian GP here in FRL, and the drivers are getting ready really good here. And as we can see, a little bit of jockeying around for position. Wasserschwein Barthez battling it out. Turn one, no carnage so far. Mercedes off in the grass there. That is going to be the Mercedes of Debe, and that is going to be JJ in the wall right here off of the race start. Unfortunate for the Ferrari drivers. Still very, very close battles going on in the background. Look at the Red Bull there of Ignis diving in on Buchik, trying to get a pass there, and that is going to be Graxent spinning out as well. Look at that. Buchik and Ignis still battling it out. All the drivers still fighting. Things are extremely close here through the field, and Jack not giving up at all on this battle with Kuba and Barthez. Look at Jack here trying to hold on, and as he goes through, Jack does get the pass done there, and Kuba falls back 2 positions, possibly falling back a 3rd place there as Kuba is continuing to come under some immense pressure. AWS, this is not the time for the tire strategy. As we watch here, so lap 1, most people have survived here. Ignis through, Debe through, and you can see Matouche and Syntax just dropping back there. Some big problems coming in early, and for drivers like JJ and Graxent, that means they lose out big time early on here in the race. But Tazo running away with the lead here. Wasserschwein and P2 trying to chase him down, and then you've got 2 seconds the gap there. AWS, I swear, we know the pit stop strategy. Stop telling it to us. We already know it's soft to hards or soft mediums. Your strategies are wrong. Thank you. Come again. Let's keep on the battles here. On the screen, Jack being chased down there by Buchik. Kuba trying to chase him down as well. And now you've got drivers diving into the pits early. Kuba, first driver into the pits here as we watch everything unfold. Kuba going into the pits fast. Buchik thinking about a pass there on Jack, just not close enough in order to make that pass stick. And as they continue, Ignis back as well. We could see a DRS train start to form. We saw that happen in split 2, and we might see it again here in split 1. All of the drivers making it through the first lap, if only just. Now let's get our eyes here on the battle here for P6. You're currently watching Ignis and Debe battling it out very, very hard. And then Buchik as well ahead of them, trying to chase down Jack. So a 4-way battle right now for P4. And Ignis setting purple sectors in. Looking at places gained right there off the jump, Graxent down 12 places, JJ down 17. All right, now AWS is changing their pit stop strategy, guys. Soft to medium or soft to hard. Take your pick on what you want to do there. Noda's up 9 places, driver that you need to keep your eye on. And Tazo in the lead right now, up from P3. So big names making big moves early on here. You can see as far as tire strategy, everything's mixed up. Syntax opting for softs, John Meister and JJ and Kuba opting for medium spaghetti on soft. So it's going to be a good game of who goes where. And as the timing screen goes out, I can tell you right now, Ignis and Buchik very, very close together. Maddie and Noda battling it out right here for P10. And it looks like Noda actually spinning there out of turn 2, dropping back a bit here, watching the battles, trying to keep our eyes on what's going on. And Watching here the battles, you can see drivers still trying to chase each other down. I don't know specifically who is chasing who down because it's no timing at the moment. We've got a spin there in Sector 3. That is going to be Fishu, who is out. And just looking at the driver's gaps here and looking at everything going on, things don't look in too bad of a spot at the moment here. Wasserschwein 6/10 of a second back on Tazo. Now we've got some times going. We can keep a better eye on what's going on here. Jack 7/10 of a second back from Barthez. Then Buchek, Ignis, Debe, a big DRS train forming there in the midfield. Bernard and Gavron, P8 and P9, Maddie and P10. Your top 10 all kind of settling in here on their tires. 8th, 9th, and 10th on mediums. They're going to look to play the long game here to take advantage of those medium tires lasting longer than most people thought they would. And Debe is now retiring out of the session there. A spin in the middle sector, and Debe is going to be out. And Syntex with the fastest lap there. Very nice. And there is our first safety car deployed. So, first safety car here in split one, and it's due to Debe spinning out and DNFing. And we'll see if any drivers opt into the pits. It looks like Jack is going to be the first driver to blink, go into the pits there. And it looks like actually Tazo and Wasserschwein are in with him as well. We'll see what tires all of these drivers decide to go on to. And it looks like hard tires are going to be coming out here in split one. Not a lot of drivers thought about using the hards in split two, but we're seeing this hard tires come out in split one. And that means Barthez is going to lead for a couple laps. So we're in on lap 5, and we're taking the form of split 2 here with our first safety car in. And we'll see exactly where this gets us long term here. As we can see, Tazo decided to blink and go into hard tires. So Tazo is probably going to look to play the long game here and run to the end of the Grand Prix. And I really wonder if he will be able to make those tires last. Of course, the medium tires lasting, I believe it was 23 or 24 laps in split 2, when they really should not have lasted that long. Some interesting stats for you here in split 1. Well, I thought I had interesting stats for you. I don't. Here you go. Let's look at some performance in terms of constructors. Currently in the constructors championship, Alpine is in P1, Tazo and Spaghetti Mafia. Spaghetti Mafia currently down in P16 though. Mercedes is P2 with Debe and Kuba, and then AlphaTauri is your third place looking at your Constructors' Championship. So lots of things that those drivers need to bring up and try to get going here. Looking at some different stats here from the drivers. When you're looking at Debe here, with no DNFs, his average position is P6. If you're looking at JJ, his average position is P11, which is a really, really interesting thing to look at in terms of just where the drivers finish and perform. Kuba last week qualifying the best and then finishing P1. And then week 1 was a little crazy there. Graxent, of course, qualifying on pole, but then Jack pulled out the win. Week 3 here in Australia, it's going to be really fun to watch and see what driver is able to win this race. So, watching the cars come around here, safety car is in this lap, which means Barthez is going to be taking control of the field as he goes around here. Final corner, and Barthez is not going to delay for any reason at all, and we are going to be back underway here. And it means for Barthez, he is going to be holding on here very quickly. Buchik is trying to think about a pass and isn't close enough to make a pass stick. It looks like the drivers are going to be running through this first corner single file fairly well. No big issues that I see, except for in the back of the field here. Syntex trying to have a hard dive there on JJ and Spaghetti, and JJ is going to come out ahead of them in that battle up in the front. Gavron is right behind his teammate Bernard. And wants to get that pass done as well. As the drivers continue to go through, and we're coming around on lap 7. Drivers going single file around. Nothing too crazy happening here. Noda right on the rear wing here of Maddie, trying to have a pass. And you can see Gavron and Bernard still trying to settle out who's going to be where. Gavron feels he's a little bit faster than his teammate, so he is going to be looking to try to get that pass done here sometime soon and maybe play a little bit of team orders as they come around. And look at Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein is right there behind Tazo, very close as well, just a couple tenths separating them. So all of these battles through the field are going to be really, really important to watch. And I can't forget about Ignis here battling for P2. Buchik right in front of him, so Ignis is going to be fighting to try to get his way up onto the podium. Barthez already has over a second of a gap in less than 3/4 of a lap. So as we come around here to start lap 8, drivers are all settled out. Everybody's survived another lap here, and Ignis still trying to chase down Buchik. And then you still have Noda, who has a good run on Maddie here going through. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car. But as he comes down, Noda's going to have the outside, and he has that pass done pretty as you please. But then Maddie is going to be under pressure by Tazo now. Tazo looking to follow Noda right through. Not close enough in order to follow him directly through, but he is close enough that he's going to have a great chance to have a run on him. But let's look at Jack in the background as well. Jack is right there a couple tenths off of Tazo, and he is going to be trying to make a pass as well as the drivers continue to go around. Jack only a tenth and a half, a tenth of a second off of Tazo going into the chicane, and he's not close enough for a dive into the chicane, but he is going to be close enough for a dive into turns 9 and 10 if he so fancies it as he goes around. Very, very close here. The Ferrari driver is on who you could argue is his new rival here in FRL. Continue to fight down. Of course, DRS will be active after this lap. No DRS for 2 laps after safety car. And looking at gaps, everything's pretty consistent here. The drivers are doing really good at just keeping a very solid pace and keeping up with each other as they come through the left-hand hairpin into the final corner onto the main straight. And coming around here looking really good. DRS is going to be enabled here. Of course, they won't have it until after turn 2 though, but all of the midfield is in a massive DRS train, so it really is anyone's guess who will be able to get passes done and who won't as the drivers continue to go down and around and up, down, sideways, and through. Calderon coming across here, still not able to get past his teammate Bernard, and Bernard's starting to lose touch with the leaders there. Jack and Tazo battling it out here. Tazo on the inside, Jack on the outside. It switches back. Jack trying to avoid the sausage curb, still has the inside. There's still wood to wheel. Tazo out on those hard tires going very wide. You can see behind him Graxit went extremely wide as well. So Tazo now under pressure by Wasserschwein. Tazo losing out big time there in that battle with Jack. So Tazo down into P9, but now is Wasserschwein going to be able to get past him here going into the chicane? Tazo on those hard tires trying to hold on there, and Wasserschwein getting a little greedy and not being able to get that pass done. Wasserschwein losing a little bit of time there as well. So Tazo onto P9, but only just, and Jack up into P8, released to go ahead and start chasing down and clawing his way back up the field on those medium tires. Continue to watch this midfield battle, but looking up front, FOXXXES has 2 seconds on Ignis at the moment, and then Ignis has a 1.5 seconds on Bernard, so big gaps forming up in the front as the drivers run down here into the bus stop, and VSC has been deployed. I'm not for sure for what, but there is a VSC out. I'm going to guess there were a couple of drivers that made contact there in the front of the field, just based on the fact that we're seeing a few of these drivers into the pits now, which, if you are, who is that? Butrick, Noda, Graxit, and Ignis are all into the pits here. Ignis onto a set of hards as well here, lap 10, so he's going to run the hardest to the end, and Tazo getting passed by Wasserschwein with no care in the world. But Tazo able to get the pass back there as Wasserschwein outbraking himself a little bit there into turns 3 and 4. So that is going to be, for Tazo, another opportunity that he is able to shut down to get past there. So Tazo in P6, Jack in P5. Jack continuing to catch up with the front 4 and possibly setting himself up for a good podium here. Looking here at penalties, Syntax, Fishu, Ignis, and Noda, the 4 drivers that are currently nursing penalties here on the grid. And all of them are 3-second penalties for what I can only imagine to be corner cutting. We'll find out at the end of the race for sure. Looking here at gaps though, Bernard at the head of this DRS train. Just look at the grid behind him as they all come around the corner there. 2nd place to 10th place, all in one big DRS train, and it really is anyone's guess who's going to be able to get a pass done here. Back in the background, right as we cut over to him, John Meister spinning out and DNFing, and that is going to be a 2nd safety car deployed here. John Meister just losing traction there in turn 2. And safety car is deployed here. All right, lap 11 of 29, 18 laps to go here. 2nd safety car is out. As far as pit strategy goes, I don't know. If you're someone like Ignis who pitted there under the green flag, you're going to be a little bit upset. FOXXXES is into the pits. Tazo is into the pits. JJ, Spaghetti Mafia, Syntax all into the pits. We'll see what tires there, because Tazo was only on hards. He's opted to go into mediums. And we'll see what JJ has opted onto. JJ opting onto a set of the mediums as well. So it looks like all of these drivers opting to go on the mediums. Hard tires, very slow, very hard to keep traction, it looks like. But look at this, Haas 1-2 currently, Bernard and Gavron currently holding on to the top 2 spots of the grid, and we will see how they are able to hold this through. Of course, they have not pit yet, and they are on medium tires, so they do need to pit again. I'm guessing they will be looking for the advantage of another safety car here in order to pit. So most of the drivers from 9th place back, well, we'll say 8th place back, are on really, really good tire strategies. Jack and Wasserschwein are on 7 lap all medium, so they are going to have to pit again, and it's a question on what tire are they going to pit to. And then if you look back, top 3 are definitely going to have to pit again, and my guess would be they're going to have to pit for, they're going to have to run long for softs. Same thing with Kuba and Matouche there. But it really is anyone's guess what the best strategy is going to be as these drivers play out and as things run here closer to the end of the race. We are, of course, almost halfway through here, and it really is going to be a guessing game for me, as I never know what these drivers are thinking. I can tell you something, and the drivers are thinking something completely opposite. It just really seems to be the way this league is. I say something, and then, as I say, I'm not the driver. They do what they want. As the drivers come around here into turns 9 and 10, safety car is going to be called in this lap, so we'll see how the drivers handle this and how things set up. Of course, we'll see Bernard take control of the field here, and we'll see what Bernard is able to do. It's always fun for me to watch these drivers restart races, because some drivers have a certain style that they do, like they'll hold the field very, very back and very, very slow. Some drivers have a style where they just, as soon as they're comfortable, they accelerate, like that right there. So Bernard is going to work with his teammate here, I would imagine, and they are going to go together right here down the main straight. And we are going to be back underway here going into lap 14 of 29. And as we watch the drivers go through here, Bernard bringing us in really simple there. And you can see just the mix of cars, and there goes his teammate Bernard. Oh, and Maddie is going to be out of this race. I didn't see what happened there, but we've got several cars flying there through the wreckage. So that is going to be a couple cars out immediately after the restart. Are we going to have another safety car? I'm not sure at the moment, but Jack up into P2, Wasserschwein in P3. I would imagine that has to be another safety car here. Matouche coming across here in P5. No safety car called. They just get the car out of the way. It always amazes me, the decision sometimes of the FIA. I don't know why that wasn't a safety car, but it could have been and should have been. As they come across, though, they're going to come around turn 8 into turn 9 and 10 here, and we'll see exactly where these drivers end up and how things happen. Tazo fighting with JJ at the moment. They're side by side going into turns 9 and 10. They're going to come around. JJ is going to fall back here, and Tazo is going to hold on to P8. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car, so this is all about pure pace, determination, and strategy. But JJ is not going to let Tazo go that easy, and they're going to continue to fight and try to get the better of each other. And watching this fight here continue to develop, Tazo is closing the gap to Barthez, and then JJ is a little bit off there too. Wasserschwein dropping back there, a spin there in turns 3 and 4. He's going to be backing away, but for Wasserschwein, unfortunately, that's going to drop him to the back of the grid. Look at Kuba here having to fend off a big battle behind him at the moment on the older medium tires. Of course, the front of the grid all on older tires. Wasserschwein is going to be back underway here, but look at how close the field is to each other as they continue to go around. This race and all of these battles are far from over, and that is going to be Fishu out of the session there in the middle, and that is going to be our 3rd safety car here. And these drivers in the front of the grid are going to probably pit here, I would imagine, but they do not have that much of a gap to the cars behind them. So if they pit, what is that going to cost them? Is all of those drivers behind them are going to continue to conserve those newer medium, and if you're Ignis, the hard compound tires. Bernard is going to go to the pits. Jackson into the pits. Kuba's into the pits. Matoush is into the pits. Ignis will take over the lead as he's going to stay out. And look at the kerfuffle right there at the end of pit lane. And looky there. There goes Kuba into the pits. He's going to come out on a set of softs there. And we'll see where the rest of the grid comes out at. There's Bernard coming out onto a set of softs. Jack MP11 coming out onto soft tires as well. And then Matoush on soft. So all 4 drivers that just pit are going out on softs. Massive collision just happened. Drivers shuffling around everywhere. Barthez has no front wing now. We missed something big happening right there, and it looks like drivers picking up some major penalties because of it there in the front of the field. That is going to prove costly by the end of the race. 3 seconds and 3 seconds of penalties to Ignis and JJ, 5 seconds Spaghetti Mafia, 3 seconds Syntex, 5 seconds Tazo, 8 seconds Kuba, and 5 seconds to Wasserschwein. So this is going to be absolutely chaotic by the end of the race, figuring out who has won what. Ignis and Spaghetti both up 10 positions. Notice gained 12 positions here in this race. Of course, the big loser right now is Wasserschwein, down 9 positions, but Tazo and Barthez are both down 5 positions. So some major winners and losers here as we go through. Gavron is out of the session in the pit lane. Not sure what happened there with him, but as we continue to watch the drivers come around, it really is going to be a guessing game here of who is able to do what. JJ, a 1:25.1 is his fastest lap time. He's fastest of everybody on the field, but can he hold that through? I think he can, but it's going to be a matter of waiting to see what happens here. Of course, he is on the 4-lap-old mediums versus Ignis on 6-lap-old hards. This is going to have longer tire life, but JJ's tires are going to come to more quickly. So we'll have to watch and see here in the first lap or two after the safety car who's able to take advantage of what. And I believe, oh, what just happened in the back of the field? That is Kuba out after a massive hit there. I didn't see what happened there, but that is Kuba out. That is such a weird place to be out. Right in the middle of the main straight. What happened? Watching the drivers continue to come around. Can only sit here and think Bernard, Jack, and Matouche are in a really good spot right now. Same with Tazo and Gavron and Barthez, all on brand new tires. So should be really, really fun to watch them and see long term where they end up. Waiting on the safety car to come in and we can get this race back underway. We're a little over halfway and it really is anyone's guess how this race is going to end and how it's going to turn out. All right, and now that I'll have something to talk about since the race is coming back and I don't have enough statistics, information, and fun for 3 safety cars on my own, we are going to be back underway at the end of this lap. Safety cars coming in now, which means Ignis gets control of the field this time. And on those hard tires, he's going to have to look for a little bit of a jump there to take advantage of those tires and try to give himself a little bit more time to work those tires up against JJ. Coming around into the penultimate corner, of course, trying to watch that safety car go. Ignis, you can see working the tires hard. JJ trying to stay right behind him. You can see the tires are around the mid-70s. And then Ignis's, if we look, are around 80. So Ignis has done a really good job of firing those tires up. Spaghetti Mafia has done a really good job of firing his tires up as well. We're back underway here, and look at JJ trying to get the pass done early. And JJ does get the pass done early, right around there. They're still side-by-side fighting, though. And who is that that spins in the background? I believe that is going to be... Oh, don't tell me that was Syntax. Do not tell me that was Syntax. And there's JJ going around, and it looks like that was Syntax that went around. And then JJ's just gone around as well. I don't understand what just happened, but lots of carnage out of nowhere. But, oh, what just happened? Too many things just happened at once. Somehow Spaghetti Mafia is in the lead. Can anyone tell me how that happened? Ignis was up front. Now Ignis is P8. And Spaghetti Mafia is in the lead. What did I miss? Ignis still has his front wing, so I don't know what happened there. But Spaghetti Mafia is in the lead. Grax at P2, Buchik P3, Noda P4 trying to have a run here on Buchik, Jack in P5 trying to get a run through. And then look at this. Ignis going wide there. Big fight there. JJ, massive contact there. And safety car is going to be deployed from whatever that massive contact was a result of. I don't know what just happened, but that was absolute chaos. And we're now in safety car number 4, and some of these drivers losing out big time. Ignis back in P6. JJ magically all the way back to the field with no wing. Bernard there with no wing. I mean, what just happened to these drivers? And now we're going to see all the drivers in the pits here that could have been involved here. Buchik in, Ignis in, Matouche in, JJ in, Bernard in, Tazo in, Gavron in, Wasserschwein, Syntax in. I mean, can anyone tell me what just happened? Because that was massive. I need someone to fill me in on what that just was, because I am completely clueless as to what I just witnessed. But shout out Spaghetti Mafia leading here in split 1. Graxon up into P2, Noda into P3 here, P4 Jack. So we got a big battle on our hands getting ready to come in with 9 laps to go. Jack, of course, on the soft tires, has the potential there. Everybody from 6th place back had to pit after whatever that carnage was. Lap 20, someone's going to have to fill me in on what just happened there. Wow. So, let's reset the grid one time here. Figure out exactly what the heck just happened. So, I know it started with JJ spinning there, and I believe that was turn 1, JJ spun. And then I believe Syntex spun as well. There was some contact coming through turns 2, 3. And then somewhere around turns 9 and 10, just chaos broke loose. But everything's reset. Everybody's got fresh front wings. Everybody's back together. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But nobody really picked up any penalties. Ignis has penalties. Ignis has 3 seconds. JJ has 3 seconds. Syntex has 3 seconds. Spaghetti has 5 seconds. Matouche is now into the pits. And we'll see what Matouche is planning on doing here. I believe he's going on to a fresh set of softs. Yeah, and he's having to change his front wing there. So, getting wing damage under safety car. Very unfortunate for the AlphaTauri driver. The Spaghetti Mafia is leading a Grand Prix here. And I really wonder what's going through Spaghetti Mafia's head at the moment and what his plan is for everything. I think Spaghetti Mafia could be in a great spot here to win this race here in Split 1. So we'll really see where this ends up. Look at Spaghetti slowing way down here. The field going double file. It's like we're in a NASCAR restart or something. Watching the drivers slow down as they come through. Safety car is going to be in, and Spaghetti wants all of the space that he can give it. Is I'm guessing Spaghetti is going to decide to run away early here and try to build out a bit of a gap there. And you can see Graxent is just not going to let that happen. Graxent trying to stay as close as he can to Spaghetti. And then look at Noda there. Noda trying to get things under a hurry as well. They really just want to get back underway and get things going. And as the safety car is in here now, Spaghetti can go when he pleases coming around. And it looks like Spaghetti's still not going, almost making contact with Graxent as Graxent was ready for him to go. And now we are going to be back underway here, and Spaghetti's going to be going. Graxent's going to drop into the slipstream here. We're back underway here on lap 22, and hopefully no chaos happens here. Graxent's going to be trying to have a dive around on Spaghetti, isn't able to get past him there, but Jack is able to make it past Noda. Buchik is able to get past Barthez here as well, as we watch no chaos happening there into the first couple of turns. And look at that, the dive on the inside there Bernard has, the dive around the outside into the inside that Syntex had, wasn't able to hold on to it. Bernard was able to hold on to Tazo though. JJ trying to go through, and look at this battle right here. Jack and Graxent going side by side as they come around. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact as they come around, and it looks like at the moment that is going to be Jack trying to stay on the track. Jack's going to do a little bit of a switchback here outside of the inside. They're side by side as they come down, going into the chicane, into the bus stop here. And Jack is going to be spun out there in his battle with Graxent. A little bit too much curb, and he uses back on track to get back underway, and that is going to be an interesting conversation for later. One of the league rules, I believe, is that you're not allowed to use back on track, so it'll be interesting to watch that for later. But as we go through, unfortunate for Jack, he's dropped way off of the chances of the podium. He's all the way in the back now, and this battle up front is far from over. Look at the absolute carnage there through the back, and look at JJ still trying to chase everyone down, and look at that, still side by side coming around. Look at Syntax trying to go for points here. Syntax trying to fight off Matouche side by side there, and Matouche is going to have the inside. Is Syntax going to be able to hold on to the position there? He is not, but now they're going to be going down the main straight. A little bit of a slipstream effect here. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car. You can see Matouche is trying to conserve his battery. They're going to be side by side going in the first chicane, and Syntax is going to get pushed off the grass there. And now Syntax, unfortunately, is going to lose out on all 3 of the positions. Matouche is going to drop back, give the position back to Syntax. He knows he pushed him off the track and should not have. Gavron is up into P11, Jack in P12. And it looks like that is Matouche spinning Syntax into turn 5. And safety car is back out. What was that? It almost looks like he spun him on purpose. Sometimes I'm really frustrated. But man, that is really frustrating. Syntax, friend, I am so sorry. Syntax, of course, when we look at his season, it's not been the best season for him. P13 race 1, a DNF in race 2, and now a second DNF added to his resume. This track is just not being kind to anybody. And it's very, very... I want to like this track. I truly do. And I do love this track. But for FRL, it's been very frustrating seeing some of the situations that have came up. And as I talked about in Split 2, sometimes it's little unforced errors. I will tell you, I am glad I'm not a race steward. I would love to be a steward for a race, but I'm very glad that I'm not a race steward, because that was one of those cases that I don't know what happened. That was insane. Coming through lap 25, I do not believe there will be another safety car in this race once the safety car goes in. If there is, it'll be it would lead to a 1-lap shootout. We are very, very close to the end here. We have lost 6 drivers so far, 13 drivers remaining on track. Now, does that number stay at 13 through the end of the race? I don't know. Who's to say? But we're about to find out very shortly. I wonder if safety car will be in this lap. And of course, look at the top 3's tires. Spaghetti on 13-lap-old mediums, Graxon on 15-lap-old mediums, Noda on 13-lap-old mediums, and then you have Barthez 8-lap-old softs. I just noticed Jack is on 9-lap-old softs, and then everybody 5th place through 10th on 5-lap-old softs. Matouche on 4-lap-old, and Buchik on new soft tires here for the restart. So Buchik will really be the one to watch and see what he's able to bring in. This restart is going to be very, very important and very critical for the drivers here. Of course, Tazo will not be finishing in P2 at this rate. So, but of course, Kuba in P2 is behind him. So it's going to be really interesting to see where drivers finish up. We're going to have safety car in with 3 laps to go here. And Spaghetti Mafia is going to take control of the field again as the safety car pulls away. You can see just how much he slows down. I really like Spaghetti's style here of how he gets the race back underway. He slows things way down and makes things to his pace and how he wants it, which I really, really like as he comes around here. Still going very slow. Drivers trying to get up and hurry things along here. They really just want this race over with. Spaghetti coming around. And you can see he's lighting up the rear tires there. Just a little bit of rear tire slip, trying to get a little bit more heat in the tires. A little bit of drifting there too. Maybe he overheated them, but we're going to be back underway here. And, ooh, look at Graxon there going into the wall, losing it a little bit. That was a very, very random wheel pull, and that's going to let Spaghetti just open it up and take off. Spaghetti, of course, nursing a few seconds of penalties there, so he's got to build a bit of a gap. And look just how gingerly the drivers are being going through turn 1 here. They're really, really trying to be calm. And look at JJ there. JJ fighting for the podium, trying to get around Barthez, and he's going to have the inside here on Barthez into turn 3, and it looks like that is going to be Buchik who has spun their Jack into the pits. And things are going to continue to go along as we look here. Jack in the pits, and I'm not sure why. I believe he took wing damage randomly during that safety car. Buchik back underway there after spinning out. And as we continue to watch this big battle here for P3, look at the gaps, how the gaps are closing. Ignis and Barthez, that battle is back, and that's past there. Noda only 0.2 of a second back off of Graxton. Spaghetti's already built a 2-second gap, and you've got JJ just laying back in the back, waiting, ready for any moment to get a pass done. Look at the battle here between Barthez and Bernard, though. Bernard backing out of it there. Barthez taking advantage of the position. Look at JJ here going around. They're going to try to split Ignis around 3 wide. Ignis is going to try to go a little bit of contact there between JJ and Graxton, and unfortunately for JJ, he's going to lose his wing in play as he goes through, and now he's going to be right there side by side with Graxton, pushing Graxton off the track there a little bit there, and then Graxton is going to dive it right along the inside. Is JJ going to opt in the pits? He's not. He's going to nurse this car all the way to the end there, and he's going to have Graxton hard around the outside. Look at the traffic jam that is right behind him there. It's going to be JJ, Barthez, Graxton, Bernard and Wasserschwein battling there, and look at the carnage coming out of nowhere. Barthez in the middle of the mix. I couldn't tell you from where, but there he is, and look at the Haas contact with Alfa Romeo. Bernard dropping back a little bit. There's Batouche, and as they continue to go around, JJ coming out of the mix there in P4, but no wing in play. He is going to be in major trouble as they come around. Look at the battle there. Wasserschwein, Tazo's still trying to get back up in the mix for the points, and Tazo's up in P7 now. Tazo is going to set his sights out. There goes JJ, and Barthez very wide off the track there, almost causing a wreck. And for JJ, unfortunately, no wing in play is costing him dearly. We'll see how long he stays out with that and just how far back he drops from that moment. Continuing to go through here, look at Tazo still trying to chase down Graxton. Of course, Ignis and Noda still fighting up for P2, but this battle back in the back is too good to not watch. Watch Tazo here, 1/10 of a second back as they come around turns 9 and 10. Graxton trying everything he can to defend. Of course, no DRS for another lap here until they come around, but look at this. It's almost like you don't need DRS for this battle. Look at them side by side as they come through, and coming around here, Graxton is going to hold on here from Tazo. We've got just 2 laps remaining as they come to the flag, and they are going to be coming around the hairpin here. He's going to slot in, and Graxton is going to just go ahead and defend the line and hold the line here. Tazo is going to try to get a little bit better of a run, and Graxton's going to swerve him, push him to the inside wall. They're side by side as they come through, and who is going to have this battle? Who is going to break a little bit later into turn 1? It looks like it's Tazo. A little bit of wheel contact there, and that's going to leave open the door for Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein wants to try to get past Graxton as well to try to get up here into the places, and as they continue to go around, it's anyone's guess how this race ends. as we watch JJ dropping back again into P9. His race is all but done for. And look at this battle here. Wasserschwein right against the rear wheel of Graxent. Wasserschwein wants that pass done. And then Matouche is right behind lurking as well. Probably going to try to follow him in. Look at the drivers just absolutely battling. They know it's 2 laps left and there's nothing left to give. Look at that. Matouche on the inside there of Wasserschwein. Is he going to have the pass done? He does not have the pass done there. And it's going to be side by side again down the run in turn 9. Still side by side as they come through. Matouche is trying to bully him out of the way, and it looks like they're still side by side going in, and that is going to be a spin there for Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein just not having the grip to defend that, and for Matouche, that is going to be a run for him. Is Wasserschwein back on track? Wasserschwein is. JJ there, no front wing still. And as they run around, Spaghetti Mafia, of course, lap 28 of 29. But look at this behind him. Noda and Ignis right behind him there. And, of course, 5 seconds of penalties to Spaghetti Mafia's name. So, looking at the gaps at the moment, that would drop Spaghetti back onto P3. 3 seconds of penalties there for Ignis. So, the drivers would continue to nurse these penalties and try to make it to the end of the race if they can. And that is going to be a yellow flag. JJ has DNF'd out of this race on the main straight. Unfortunately for JJ, final lap, and he has lost it all here. Noda still trying to chase it down for the win. Jack setting a fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Jack in last place, so it'll pay him 1 extra point there. And as we watch here, Spaghetti barely defending this position here from Noda and Ignis behind him. Noda trying to chase him down at the moment. And as we watch here, is Spaghetti Mafia on track to win his first race here in Split 1. As we go around here, Tazo in P4. Can Tazo find himself on the podium? Due to penalties, we continue to watch the drivers go around and around. Final time through the bus stop in the final DRS zone. And look at this. Is Spaghetti going to be able to defend 2 hungry drivers with DRS as they come around into the 3rd sector? And it looks like Spaghetti Mafia is going to have that there. Ignis is not close enough for the pass. Noda is not close enough for the pass. No late dives into the final corner. Spaghetti just has to keep this clean through the final corner, and Spaghetti's going to come around. Spaghetti's going to see the checkered flag. He's going to have to run down the main straight. Noda gets a little loose right there at the end, and it's a drag race between Noda and Ignis. Spaghetti wins, but who gets P2? Ignis! But on track, it doesn't matter. Due to penalties, Noda is going to have the win. Tazo P2, Ignis P3. Spaghetti falls down to P4. Matouche 5. Graxent 6. Buchik will come across to take the flag for 7th. Barthez comes across to take the flag for 8th. Wasserschwein will be coming across to take the flag for P9. And then Jack will come across to take the last of the points-paying places here. And he tops it off with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Bernard and Gavron are the last 2 drivers to come across, but Noda, P3 on track, P1 in your heart. And P1 after penalties are applied. What an insane race that was, and congratulations to Noda, driver of the day, as it's well deserved. Noda, driver of the day, winner of the day, bringing it in big time there. Congratulations, Noda, on winning round 3 here in Australia. A tough race for all of these drivers, as you can tell. Just over 52 minutes long. Multiple safety cars. This race was really taxing for the drivers, as you could see. Look at all of the track limits warnings. Some collisions, some track limits, some speeding. But at the end of the day, it's all about those who prevailed. I always say it. It's all about who can be the cleanest. And today that was Noda. Congratulations to all of our drivers in both Split 1 and Split 2. Join us next week whenever we race at Imola. A very, very fun track to watch. Until next week, this is Bradley. I'm the voice of FRL. And I will see you next Sunday. Same time, same place. and it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Roshi is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers.